Okay, well, let's give this a go. So, as of my recording, yesterday was Free Comic Book Day for 2026. Now, things have obviously kind of changed in the comic book industry and beyond the comic book industry because of the Diamond distribution bankruptcy and all of that nonsense. Now, I don't know that I've talked a lot about my feelings on Diamond, but I will say they were never particularly positive. Having back in the 90s dealt with the company Alliance, who was not great to deal with, and then they were bought out by I've just blanked on the name of the company all of a sudden. But they were bought out by Diamond. There we go. And turned a bad company into a much worse company. Anyway, things have definitely gone a little bit haywire, but I still want to support local businesses if I can. I like to get out on Free Comic Book Day, and I like to make some purchases. I'm going to format this a little differently. Not that you probably care, but I'm going to show what I got at each location for free comic books, and then I'm going to do separate videos for the things that I purchased while there. I do think that it's important, not only to get out and enjoy the community, but also to put some money where your mouth is and support the local business. So this first stack, I believe I'm correct in saying that this first stack is what I got at Big Planet Comics on U Street in DC. Great little store. I've been going there for years when I can. Not last year. Last year I was in New York City on Free Comic Book Day, and I ended up going to, what's the big one? Forbidden Planet. I went to Forbidden Planet. I also went to that really cool one I'll never remember the name of. It's a little hole in the wall in South Bronx. I can't remember the name of the actual neighborhood, but it's in the southern part of the Bronx. And it was a really cool little shop, very tiny little hole in the wall. And I ended up, it was so small that the line was too big, and I ended up going back another day. But it was okay. I had everything I wanted, and I made a purchase there. Anyway, I picked up this one, Alien, Planet of the Apes, Predator. And I am apologizing if there's glare. I actually can't see the screen to see what's showing, so we'll see. I'm a fan of a lot of the Alien comics that have been done, although those were Dark Horse, and now this is Marvel. Apparently, they also have Planet of the Apes, which I think also Dark Horse had, and obviously Predators in connection. That makes sense. They're all from Fox, as it says in the corner. So, look, I'm a sucker for Planet of the Apes. I love Alien. I love Predator. The comics have always been kind of a mixed bag, but sometimes cool. So I figured I'd check it out. Art looks fine. It's not going to make me jump up and down scream, but it looks fine. Ultimate Oz Universe, Volume 2, Into the Outer Lands. Now, I enjoy Oz. I enjoy some weird takes on Oz. I have that Oz book by Andrew Kolb for running tabletop RPGs in the Oz setting, and I don't know, I like Oz. It's weird, and I like weird. So Oz, there's always a Conan comic, and Conan's one of those I've talked about before because of the tabletop RPG that changes hands all the time. I'm going to try to check the glare situation. It's not too bad. Okay. It changes hands so often that I have stopped trying to get invested in what comes out. I suppose if it comes out that there are specific runs that make for good graphic novels, which I know in the case when Dark Horse had it, there were a few that were excellent, non-ongoing series, just a cool little graphic novel, then I might check it out, but I'm not going to try to get into an ongoing series. Especially again because with Dark Horse, when it started out, it was Cary Nord and Kurt Busiek, if I'm saying the names right. I never know that I am. I thought it was just an absolutely phenomenal line that captured Robert E. Howard's writing better than I had seen elsewhere. I know everybody loves, is it Roy Thomas? I think it's run on Marvel Comics. And look, they're fun comics, but I don't think they're very good at capturing Conan. And I thought that Nord and Busiek did an amazing job of capturing Conan, but Nord quickly fell off on his art, and they kept getting replacements, some of whom were good, some of whom were less so. And then Busiek left, and it just got really spotty after that. And it just reminded me that the ongoing thing with a comic where it keeps changing artists, keep changing writers, it doesn't tend to interest me as much. So anyway, blah blah about that, but I'll give it a read. I usually enjoy these, and then when I'm done, I like if somebody buys something off of eBay, a lot of times I'll toss something like this in there. But Gun Honey, I love hard case crime. I can't remember if I've read some Gun Honey before. I feel like no. Scandalous. I'll be curious. Again, I really like a lot of hard case crime novels. I'm typically am less interested in contemporary stuff as I am in the reprints of the old stuff, but you never know. And Flash Gordon, I am a sucker for Flash Gordon, but as with a lot of other stuff, I feel like it changes hands every couple of years and it's hard to stay invested. So that's what I picked up at Big Planet. Then I went to, let's see if I'm keeping stuff in frame. Yes, I'll keep that over there. Then I went to Phantom Comics. Was that on P Street near DuPont Circle in DC? I picked up this one, Decidium. I don't even know what that actually says. I can't read that print. I have no idea what this is. I picked it up because the cover image was somewhat striking and the black and white art looks cool. Oh, this is from Image. Okay, cool. Image they've put out a lot of sci-fi comics that I tend to either enjoy or am at least intrigued by. I don't always follow through, but I do tend to like a lot of stuff. Also, Image tends to put out a lot of stuff that comes to an end, which I think is important. So that's this one, The Name She Lost, Inanna. This one, I want to say, I can't read the name of the comic company. Your eyesight's just not good enough for that, but I think, Vault Comics. I think I've picked up some of their stuff in years past, and it's been fine. It's the kind of thing where I think, if I had easy access to a graphic novel, I would read it, but at the same time, it's not something I go out of my way to track down. The art's fine, looks cool, so I'll check that out. I pick up Avatar comics, I think, every year, and I read them, and they tend to just be things that exist. And I love the Avatar cartoon, the original one. I tried, at some point I'll get back to the sequel series, but I don't care for this. I'm not a, I guess this, I don't know, it looks almost Minecrafty. I'm not a fan of I think of it as like a Nickelodeon style, but it's this weird ultra stylized, almost feels like a retro cartoon, but I feel like a lot of stuff from the late 90s, early 2000s embraced this look, and it just doesn't do a lot for me. But hey, if the writing's good, who knows? This is Dark Horse. Does Dark Horse still? I thought Dark Horse didn't have Star Wars anymore. I don't know. Maybe they still have the ability to print old stuff. I really don't know. Anyway, there's that. That does remind me. I wanted to point out, because I noticed it on here. Apparently, because there is a lot of confusion, I heard somebody talking about this, because there is a lot of confusion about what's going on post Diamond. Some things are Comics Giveaway Day, Comics Giveaway Day, as opposed to Free Comic Book Day. Just a thing. Greatest American Hero, I loved this show. Do I need to read a comic book based on it? Not really, but I'll give it a look. Like old William Catt. I don't know. Who knows? I'll take a look. Journey to the West, I at some point will read the full thing of a translation of Journey to the West. I have a mental block, and maybe if I had been exposed, which, I mean, you weren't really getting manga in the States when I was young, other than, gosh, I think maybe Akira was available, but there wasn't much else. Silent Mobius, I think, was one that was available. But everything was reversed around, and I have a mental block on reading from right to left, and it's something I've tried to overcome a couple times, and I really can't do it. So that leaves that out. Finally, I went to Pure Panic in downtown Silver Spring. It is new to me. I don't know how new the store actually is, but I had not heard of it until relatively recently. And I thought I would give it a check. Now, they did not show up. And again, I know there's all kinds of confusion with Free Comic Book Day right now. They didn't show up on the store finder as participating, but I was out and about. I was doing this little adventure. I figured, heck with it. I'll go up and I'll check out this new to me store. And it turns out they were participating. There, I picked up Nice House on the Lake. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. I haven't even opened it before this. In fact, I hadn't opened any of these, really. I just snatched them off the shelf and found my thing to buy and went with it. So I like this art. It looks cool. Not necessarily my style, but it does look almost borderline something that you would expect to have like Ed Brubaker writing on or something. But yeah. Rick Atkinson, The British Are Coming. My wife is a big time history nut, especially and specifically U.S. history. So I picked this up kind of thinking about her. I am something of a history reader myself, but U.S. history has typically not been my field of interest. Something is Killing the Children, Road to Slaughter. James, do I notice that name? Oh, it's the same name here. So interesting. I don't know. I don't know the author. That's Boom. Is this Boom? This is Vertigo. This is Boom Studios. So I don't know the author. I'm assuming that's the author. Yeah, written by. I'm not aware. Probably there's somebody famous that I just am not aware of. Don't love this kind of stylized art. This doesn't super float my boat, but we'll give it a go. We'll take a look, see what the writing's like, see what the story's like. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea what it is. Last Kids on Earth. You never know. Sometimes things that look like they're kid-friendly aren't, and sometimes they are. And so I'll take a look. I have some friends with younger kids. Sometimes I'll read these, and if they're appropriate, I'll pass them on. If not, they go into the little free library. I rarely pick up anything superhero related, but I saw this Supergirl one, and I'm like, yeah, what the heck? It's certainly colorful. I'll give it a go. I don't know what this one is. I don't recognize the names. Is this, I don't know. This looks like, I'm assuming an anthology, but maybe not. I guess not an anthology. I think I kind of assumed it was when I just saw it. So I have no idea what this is about. I'll take a look. And Masters of the Universe. I was admittedly not a fan of the show when I was a kid. I didn't like the movie. I don't have a lot of interest in the new movie, not the least of which is Hollywood just keeps casting Jared Leto no matter how many times the people speak and say, we don't want Jared Leto in our movies. That's why his movies keep bombing, because people are tired of that kind of nonsense. But here we are, another movie with Jared Leto, and it looks like some D&D in here. Okay. I guess D&D and Masters of the Universe, at least Marvel, or not Marvel, at least Dark Horse still has something that might be bringing in the money. I feel bad. I have slid out of frame as time's gone on. I feel bad that poor Dark Horse has like lost a lot of its money makers. I don't know. I hope they make it through, as they have produced a lot of quality comics over the years, and I think they did a great job with Star Wars. I think they did a great job with Alien Predator, and it's unfortunate that everything's coalescing under the same name brands. So that's my free comics from Free Comic Book Day. I'm going to separately record some videos about things that I picked up on that day. Did you get a chance to get out? Have you read any of the things that you picked up? What's your local comic book shop? Do you have one that's good? I am lucky enough now, especially living in DC, that it's relatively easy for me to get to several. There are a couple others that are not so far out of range that I couldn't have gone, but I thought 3 was enough. I really found everything I was particularly interested in. By the time I got to Pure Panic, it was more just picking up some things that attracted me in any sort of way, not necessarily things that I was particularly super interested in. So that's it for me. Until whatever the next video is, take care.